Well, RFK Jr. just fired every single member of the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Board. And if you understand how rigged their trials have been for decades, you will understand why. The media is not telling you this. They're saying, oh, it's so dangerous that he just fired this board. But let's take a look at what they've been doing all these years. And you'll ask yourself, why haven't they run clinical trials? I'm going to show you why. Why has the media been pretending that they do? As if they don't care, as if they really want to protect Big Pharma and not their own readers. That's weird, right? Summer is here, and so are the possibilities for those dark marks, sunspots, blemishes that the sun leaves behind. Until now, Genucel has a dark spot corrector that visibly fades away dark marks, sunspots, and scars, and other signs of discoloration all over your skin. It's formulated with their patented Lumiskin. It has a revolutionary new ingredient and Genucel's legendary base, shown to visibly reduce age spots, sunspots, and uneven tone for a brighter, more youthful look. You'll be amazed at how quickly you'll see results. And so then you can go and safely enjoy the summer sun without worrying about what it does to your skin. And you'll get guaranteed results or your money back, no questions asked. Right now, you can get your dark spot corrector with every Genucel complete skincare package for over 70% off, plus an extra discount automatically applied at checkout for world-class skincare that works, guaranteed, or your money back. You can order yours right now at genucel.com/redacted. One more time, that's genucel.com/redacted. And you'll get a free spa box with 2 bonus gifts and free shipping. So here is Secretary Kennedy's announcement that he just retired all 17 members of the ACIP. This is the board that is responsible for adding new vaccines to the recommended schedule. Now, he is accusing them of what he calls malevolent malpractice, and I'm going to prove to you that he's right. The main reason for the house cleaning, according to Kennedy, is their stubborn unwillingness to demand adequate safety trials before recommending new vaccines to our children. And here is where he says that today, a compliant child receives between 69 and 92 routine vaccines through conception to the age of 18. That's up by 11 shots since 1986, and each of them has been approved without requiring placebo-controlled trials. He is absolutely right about that, and the media is trying to pretend that that's not true. I'm going to show you exactly how the media protects vaccine makers, and absolutely they lie to you, and your hatred for them should grow. I'm not telling you how to feel, but I'm telling you that's an appropriate way to feel. CNN tried to purposely confuse its audience about this in an attack on this move in RFK Jr. They admit here that out of 258 vaccine trials, only 127 used inert placebo. That means like a sugar pill or saline solution or something like that. It's a shot without any active ingredients. The rest used other vaccines. That means they're trying something like a flu shot and they'll try it against a different flu shot. Instead of acknowledging that this proves RFK Jr. right, they point out the rarity of true placebo trials, spinning it as if the volume of any trial somehow debunks the concern. They essentially redefine placebo to include active ingredients, which is not what a placebo is. Here's the nuance to understand. Vaccine makers and doctors might say they have to skip a true placebo. They can't give the control group nothing because if, for instance, that vaccine has some kind of benefit, they can't deny it to the placebo group, right? So they're saying in their way, withholding a potential benefit vaccine is wrong. So instead of comparing a vaccine to a group that gets nothing, they compare it to an older version of the vaccine. So let's take, for instance, GlaxoSmithKline's DTaP vaccine. It covers 5 different diseases, and the label boasts 14 clinical trials, but every one of those trials, the control group didn't get a placebo. They got other vaccines with something added, such as polio or hepatitis B or some combo shot. Okay. So the vaccine was only tested against other vaccines, not true blank slate. That's not safety science. That's marketing. Go ahead, Philip.
It was David.
Well, there is a medical ethics that they are bastardizing here, because if you have your 2 control groups, one on placebo and one on the active ingredient, there comes a threshold when the vaccine, like if they're making a vaccine and it's showing like great result, then it becomes unethical to continue people on the placebo. However, if you don't have that initial, if you're not comparing it to anything, like this is just like a bastardization of medical ethics, of the ethics on this.
Thank you for pointing that out. That's exactly what it is. What it is also is a purposeful burying of side effects. Now, this is something I learned from the fantastic book, Turtles All the Way Down. Absolutely think everyone should read this book. They say it's not an accident because using a fake placebo is how the vaccine makers can bury harms, because if both groups are suffering a side effects, the data looks clean. It's a statistical camouflage. Here's how they point it out, and I had to scan the book because I don't have a digital copy. What they're saying is that how vaccine trials test new vaccines against older vaccines can cause similar side effects. So if you're worried that your new expensive vaccine has a bad side effects, you don't want to admit it, so you test it against something you think will cause the same level of side effects. So let's say your vaccine causes hives or myocarditis, but it doesn't cause it more than the one in the placebo, then you don't have to admit that. This creates what looks like a safe profile because the adverse events in the control group are the same as the placebo. So you can say, like, no increased risk of myocarditis, no increased risk of hives or whatever, and that cycle continues. So, and then when the next vaccine is issued, it's not tested against a placebo. You never observe this. You're only testing it against last year's. That's how the flu vaccine is tested. And in fact, that's how every vaccine is tested, except for the COVID vaccine, which was tested against a true saline placebo. Now, this means that when vaccine makers report that their product is X% effective against whatever, they're only saying it's X% more than the group that got something similar, not people who received no vaccine at all. So why wouldn't CNN want you to understand that? You would think they would care more about you, their reader, their audience, than the vaccine makers, right? Not only that, they went on to pretend that this is not true. This is the nuance they are refusing to report to you. Additionally, this is something else they won't tell you. The vaccines on the vaccine schedule have never been tested together. They have no idea how they work together. So I may give you a DTaP and a whatever, HPV vaccine in the same day. Never has there been any trials to test how they work together. We just mix and match. We don't, like, you know how you're not supposed to take a Sudafed with a NyQuil? You know, they have some data on that. Vaccines, they don't know. They're trying not to know purposely. So that's the data they don't want you to know. Secretary Kennedy says he will announce new ACIP members in the coming days. He says they will not be ideological anti-vaxxers, but highly credentialed physicians and scientists who make extremely consequential public health determinations by applying evidence-based decision-making with objectivity and common sense. I mean, what could be worse than what they have now? Now, CNN saying, oh my God, he replaced him so fast. This is so dangerous. We don't know what these new people are going to be like. They haven't been vetted. But look at what the people on that board have been doing. They're dangerous. So I'm asking you to answer this question. Who's dangerous here, and who's really been playing with your child's health?
Well, I mean, CNN is focused on power. They don't care about your family's health at all. Of course, they're making money off of Pfizer and these other, brought to you by Pfizer, and all of that. Yeah. And also, these guys don't get to scream like, trust the science, when they won't actually do the science.
Well, I just showed you exactly how the science is done, and it's bullshit. So, I don't know. I don't mourn the unemployment of those 17 people if that's how they've been doing it all along.